Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Omega Strikers Player Spotlight. My name is Zojalix, and I am joined here with the absolute legend, PuffyFPS. He agreed to be a part of this. So basically, if you guys, this is your first time watching this, basically what this is just an opportunity for you guys as viewers of the Omega Strikers professional and competitive scene to be able to get to know the top players, know who they are outside of just their absolutely cracked Omega Strikers skill. So yeah, Puffy, go ahead, start off, introduce yourself, and give us. We'll start off with how exactly did you get into Omega Strikers?
So yeah, I got into Omega Strikers because so I used to actually play Valorant competitively, and my coach in college, he's a really good friend of mine. He was like, made a tweet and he was like, "Oh yeah, like there's this new game out called Omega Strikers. Like I'm having like the most fun I've ever had with a game." So I was like, "Oh dang, like I'll check it out." And then I started playing it, and I was like, I fell in love with the game, and then yeah, here we are.
All right, and what position do you play right now?
I am a midfield player.
Okay, and then for which team?
For finesse.
Finesse. Okay, and
Or I guess we're known as Surplus Esports for some tournaments, but
that's
it's back
true.
and forth.
That's true. You
But
guys
yeah,
have the biggest identity crisis right now in the scene. Um, so what about Omega Strikers has been the thing? Because you have experience playing Valorant competitively.
Mhm.
What about Omega Strikers has made you stick with it for so long?
So yeah, first of all, with games, I really like abilities. So like I came from League, that was like, my first game, and then I went to Valorant, which was like another game with abilities. Um, and then I also came like before I was like a gamer, I was really big into soccer. So that was
Mm.
kind of like when I saw Mega Strikers, it was kind of like the best of both worlds, where like I really like the idea of like scoring goals, like um, like passing, the whole idea of like a sports based game, um, while it also being with abilities. I thought that was really cool.
Okay. And did you play any League of Legends competitively, or was it just something that you
I
grinded?
did, but it was only collegiately. I'd
Okay.
never gotten to it like amateurly.
Okay. How many years of collegiate experience do you have?
I would say I played it my whole collegiate career. So I played about a year and a half of League before Valorant came out, and then I switched over to Valorant. So I'd say like about 4.5 years of collegiate experience.
Wow. Okay. And
Hmm.
so what has been overall your driving factor in Omega Strikers? Like aside from just obviously the game being fun, what makes you sit
Hmm.
down and boot up the game and continue to put in hours after hours after hours?
Yeah, so I would say that my biggest like driving factor is I'm just a really competitive person in general. Like I typically like always want to try to be like the best at whatever I play. Whether that be like it was League and then it was Valorant and then now it's Omega Strikers. And so yeah, I just like being like the best at like a game. So I always try to like put in as much time as possible to get better. Um, just put in the work and yeah, I just love competing.
Okay. And overall, do you have any like big goals for Omega Strikers for yourself? Like, are you wanting to see yourself do Omega Strikers for the next, I don't know, 10 years? Or is this just something you're like, I'll kind of see what happens and go from there?
I mean, I would love to like play this game for like a long period of time. Right now there's not really like a pro scene for Mega Strikers. It's all just a bunch of tournaments. So it's not necessarily like sustainable for like the
Hmm.
long period of time. But I mean, I would love for it to be like, I would love to play with Mega Strikers like as like a career path. That'd
Hmm.
be sweet. But yeah, I guess right now like all I'm really focused on is just improving with our team, and hopefully we can bring home a win in one of these tournaments. I think our next one's like Nasal and
Yeah.
NASL, and we play our next match on Tuesday. So we're preparing for that.
Okay. And who are your teammates for Nasal? Just for those who might not know.
So yeah, my teammates are Joker, who is the Joker. He's my forward player, and then Barcode, who's my goalie.
Man, that is
And then
just
I can
such
give
a
us
stacked
a
team.
shout out to some of our subs as well. We have Soren and Enoch as our subs.
Oh, wow. Soren as a sub, that's crazy. That is such a
Mhm.
stacked team. And then
Yeah.
what's your guys' current record for nasal?
Ooh, that I do not know. I think we ended the regular season undefeated. Like we we never lost a single series. Uh, and then we lost a series to DLS in playoffs. So I think we're probably like four or like three wins, four draws, and like one loss, I guess,
Okay. And how
or
have you
something
guys?
like that.
Yeah. And how have you felt that your team has been doing just throughout the whole season? It's the inaugural season of any sort of
Mhm.
Omega Strikers Pro League. So many things are up in the air as to what the league is going to look like, who you're going to be playing against. How have you felt it's been going so far?
Yeah, I felt that we've done like really well for our first like season together. I
Hmm.
think we've gotten a lot better throughout. Um, I think a lot of people like widely regard us as like one of the like best teams or the teams to beat, and I think like right now like we've been kind of inconsistent. Like recently, like we peaked really hard like the last couple weeks, and then we had a really poor showing in pro league, and we were
Mm.
really bummed about that. And so we're trying to pick it back up.
Okay. So for you, did you start playing Omega Strikers back in like the pre-alpha, or like how long have you been playing Omega Strikers?
I think I've been playing Omega Striker since I don't remember the exact date, but somewhere around like September 20th. So like it was like a couple weeks after release or beta release. So
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm one of like the newer-ish players. Like I'm not like super new, but compared to a lot of the people that have been playing since alpha,
Yeah.
I'm fairly new to the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, compared to some of the others, yeah, that's a lot
Mhm.
newer than what I expected for
Yeah.
your skill level. Um, so what is it that you like? How do you prepare for going into something like, you had the Pro League Invitational, which was arguably the hardest competition any player is going
Mhm.
to face, as well as Nasal? How do you prepare, not just by obviously playing the game more, but how do you prepare mentally? Like, what are some of those things that you do to help get yourself prepared for such a high stakes event?
So like, I guess like obviously we have to play the game a bunch like to make sure our individual skill is like up to par, but a lot of Omega Strikers is like you were saying the mental game, so we have to be like really on top of it. um I guess making sure that we're like on like a healthy schedule, making sure we get enough sleep before a tournament, making sure we get like food in our body before like the series as well, so that we're not like feeling tired, because Omega Strikers is a game that like every single like play that you have like matters. Like any like a game can swing by like a single set loss, a single like point loss. So you kind of got to make sure you're playing like to your absolute best. So I guess kind of just making sure you've covered all your bases like with like a healthy schedule, and I guess like throughout the game like the day, just make sure you're drinking a bunch of water. Make sure like you're not like if you get frustrated, make sure you move on to the next play as soon as possible. Don't like keep your head on like a mistake, because like you're bound like every player is bound to make a lot of mistakes throughout a game. Just making sure that you bounce back.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. That that makes sense, especially with going up something like in the Pro League Invitational where you're going up against so many top teams to make sure that
Mhm.
you're at the top of your game mentally. Would you say that Omega Strikers is I I've been trying to see kind of like gauging where this is at primarily from the top players because I would consider myself Omega Strikers a 80% mental to be 20% mechanical, like just cuz if your head's not in the right space, you're not going to play well. Would you
Yeah.
agree, or would you think? Do you think you'd have a different rating for how you would look at it?
Mm, I probably have like a different like ratio. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say maybe closer to 50-50. I'm not. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I do think the mental part plays a very very big factor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it plays more of a factor than like I guess your skill, like just your individual skill and like team play, but I would just be safe and say 50-50.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, that would make
Mm.
sense. Um, what was the other question I had? I had one that I was just thinking of. Okay, yeah. So, um, you played a lot in for collegiate. Played some collegiate League of Legends. Played some collegiate Valorant, and now you playing Omega Strikers. Um, what was sort of the thought process as you moved from League of Legends to Valorant to Omega Strikers, all being similar but different games? They're very like they have a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. What made you decide to make the jump from each of the individual games to where you are now?
So yeah, I guess going the first time I've ever bought a PC, I was really into like FPSs. So I was playing a bunch of battle royales, games like that, League of Legends. But like there was no other game that was like competitive, like the competitive scene was so like I guess like thought out and like big was League. So that's why I went really hard into League. I was like, I'm gonna put like a bunch of time into this game because like it's like currently the most played game slash like most competitive game like on the market right now. Um, and then yeah, I honestly didn't really like League as much as like
Hmm.
you'd say like Valorant or Mega Strikers, but the only reason why I played League was because like the competition. And
Okay.
then when Riot announced that Valorant was coming, I was like, this is gonna be the next big game. I'm gonna hop on it like instantly. I tried to get a beta key right away, and then I was grinding. I was grinding the absolute like crap out of that game. I played it so much, and that was, I believe, Valorant came out when COVID happened, so I had a bunch of time to play the
Hmm.
game, and I got like really, really good at it. Like I was so good at Val, and then when school started ramping up again, I started to play the game less and less. So then it was kind of like secondary to school,
Yeah.
and then I guess like I played Val until Omega Strikers came out, and then that was the game that like absolutely took my breath away. Even though it's not like necessarily as big as Valor League, it was just the game I had the most fun with. So I finished off my collegiate season with Val, and then I just went into Omega Strikers.
Okay. And are you still in school right now, or are you done?
No, I just graduated about 2 months ago
Okay.
from
Congratulations.
Michigan State. Thank you.
Okay, nice, nice. I know I had another question. I was gonna write these all down, but then I had such a busy morning that I completely spaced on
No
like
worries.
writing any of these questions down. Um, but yeah, so obviously you've been playing games for at least competitive for at least a little while, been playing through competitive. What are some games that you play when you're not playing anything competitively?
Yeah, so at the moment, it's BattleBit. I love BattleBit. It's so fun.
Okay,
Um, I guess most recently, I really like MMOs, but there hasn't really been an MMO that I've liked too much recently. I think the most recent one, oh, I guess I'm playing Pokemon MMO right now. But I played New World a little bit.
mm,
Um, yeah, honestly, I haven't really been into many other games besides like Omega Strikers and BattleBit right now. Those are the two big ones.
fair enough. Those are, I mean, Omega Strikers is a great game, so it makes sense
Yeah.
that that's going to be what you're playing. What was kind of your big introduction to just gaming in general? Was it just like your parents bought you a console when you were growing up, and that's what you played?
So I have two older brothers, and they had like the little Game Boy Advances and stuff, and they played Pokemon, and that's kind of what got me into it. And then in school, like a bunch of my friends had like the DSs, so that's kind of what like inched me more and more into gaming. Because I actually was a very like sportsy kid
Hmm.
when I was growing up. Like I played like soccer like year round, like for a club team, pretty much up until high school. Uh, but yeah, so my friends who like I played like DS games with, we played Pokemon together. They got into Xbox, and I was like, "Oh, this is sweet!" Like I always went over to their houses, and then we'd play like Call of Duty and like FIFA and stuff. And I was like, "Man, like this is like so much better than like playing on a DS." So then I get one Christmas, my uncle got me like an Xbox, and then that kind of like was a complete game changer for me. And then I started spending a bunch of time with that, and then moving from like console to computer. I think it was like ninth grade for me,
Okay.
where my brother kind of introduced me into PC gaming with like League of Legends, and I was like, wow, this is like super fun. Like I really like being able to do like so much more stuff on a computer than I do with like a console. And ever since I got into computer gaming, I could never really go back.
Okay, for sure. Now, just some other kind of basic questions. Do you play WASD or do you play MOBA?
I'm a WASD gamer.
You're a
Yeah,
WASD gamer?
WASD. Yeah.
Hey, that is that to me just felt so much better. I think I started out playing MOBA, but then I quickly switched over to WASD and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels so much better.
Yeah. Same with me as well. I actually started as a goalie player. I played MOBA goalie, and then
Ooh.
I remember the friend that actually got me into the game was like, yeah, like WASD is just like better. Like that was when like everyone was like WASD, like there's like no like negative parts about WASD like compared to MOBA. So I was like, you know what? If this is gonna give me like a competitive edge, I'll just switch over now. So then
Hmm.
switched over to WASD.
Yeah, for sure. Who is out of all of the strikers that have been released? Which one is your favorite?
Ooh, that's tough. So I think a lot of people know me as like the Drakkar guy, like
Hmm.
the Drakkar one trick. I would say my favorite character, the most fun character to play is Luna by far. Like Luna
Hmm.
is so fun to play. I haven't played her too much recently, but I would say Luna. I have a cat named Luna. I can't not say Luna.
Did you name your cat after Luna, or would
No.
that just wow? That's just
Yeah, it was just a
coincidental.
coincidence, yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, no, Luna. I am a hot garbage Luna, but from people who are good at Luna, I can definitely understand why she would be somebody's favorite because she's absolutely obnoxious.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that pretty much is all we've got. Just want to give a little introduction as to who you are, what got you to Omega Strikers, obviously who your favorite striker is, and since we are currently in that tea time event, which tea team did you pick?
I was actually like really in between milk tea and taro. Uh, like my favorite boba drink, I'd say is like a taro milk tea. I'm kind of basic. Uh, but I would say I like milk tea more than taro, so I chose milk tea
Hey,
for the
milk tea.
majority.
That's the way to go. That's what I picked as well. There's no shame in picking milk tea. Not even in the slightest. All right. So if people wanted to look you up and find you, where would be the best place for them to do so?
So yeah, I use Twitter a good amount. I also use Twitch. They're both the same. It's just twitch.tv/PuffyFPS, twitter.com/PuffyFPS. Like you can find me like I'm just known as like Puffy. So you can probably find me on like any like social media or anything. Also on Discord, like feel free if anyone ever wants to ask me any questions about Omega Strikers, like any tips and tricks or anything, like feel free to DM me on Discord. They're
There
always
you
open.
go. There you go. You heard it. Puffy is available, ready to help you guys out. Not only is he a great player, but he is also willing to help you guys out. That to me is something that I absolutely love about the Omega Strikers community. How many top players are so willing to be helpful, and for somebody like me who is like on the edge of hitting mid plat, it makes me really happy to know that I can not feel bad about messaging you guys for questions. All right. So with that, that'll be it for our first ever Omega Strikers player spotlight. Thank you so much, Puffy, for being a part of this and helping to kind of kick this off. All of Puffy's information too will be linked down in the YouTube description below, so that way you guys can go and follow him on everything. Make sure you guys are rooting for Finesse/Surplus Esports in these next coming up events. They're going to be playing some crazy matches, and it is going to be a great conclusion to the first ever North American Strikers League competition. So with that, thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.